You wake up. Alarm, coffee, commute. 8 hours staring at a screen. Come home, eat, sleep, repeat. That's your life. That's most people's lives on this planet. And somewhere deep inside you, you've probably had that thought, that quiet, rebellious little thought. What if I just didn't? What if there were no jobs, no boss, no deadlines, and no pretending to look busy when you've already finished your work an hour ago and you're now rearranging your desktop icons for the 4th time just to look occupied? Well, here's the thing. For the vast majority of human history, we're talking hundreds of thousands of years, that was just called being alive. Our ancestors didn't have jobs, they didn't have careers, they didn't have a LinkedIn profile saying they were passionate about synergizing cross-functional value delivery. And somehow, against all odds, they managed to survive, thrive, create extraordinary things, and not spend their free time doom-scrolling through bad news they could do nothing about. You know the textbook image. A gruff, dirty caveman dragging a club, grunting, barely surviving in a relentless, desperate scramble for food, punctuated by violence, disease, and the constant looming threat of death. That famous phrase that prehistoric life was nasty, brutish, and short comes from a 17th century philosopher named Thomas Hobbes, who had never met a hunter-gatherer in his life and was mostly trying to justify why kings should have absolute power over everyone. So take that one with a planet-sized grain of salt. The reality, according to decades of anthropological research, is almost the complete opposite. Hunter-gatherer societies worked on average somewhere between 2 and 5 hours a day to meet all their basic needs: food, water, shelter, done. The rest of the time, completely free. Let that sink in for a second. 2 to 5 hours to survive in a world without supermarkets, without running water, without electricity, and without Amazon Prime delivering anything to your door within 24 hours. Meanwhile, the average person today works 8 to 10 hours, plus commuting, plus all the invisible labor that comes with maintaining a modern life: cooking, cleaning, admin, paying bills, filling out forms, and managing the 17 different subscriptions you forgot you had and still can't always make rent. The economist Marshall Sahlins famously called hunter-gatherers the original affluent society. Not because they had a lot of stuff, they had almost no stuff, deliberately so, because stuff is heavy and you have to carry it when you move. But they had something far more valuable than stuff. They had time, a profound, radical abundance of time. Which immediately raises the question, what on earth did they do with all of it? The answer, it turns out, is everything. And when I say everything, I mean specifically the things that make us human in the truest, deepest sense of the word. Not human as a productive economic unit, but human as the thing you are at 2 a.m. talking to a close friend. Human as the version of you that cries at music for no reason you can fully explain. Take social connection. Ancient humans were intensely social creatures, not in a vague, performative social media way, but in a visceral, physical, constant way. They lived in groups of roughly 20 to 50 people, and those relationships were the entire fabric of existence. Knowing who you could trust, who was funny, who told the best stories, and who secretly hoarded the good berries, this knowledge was literally survival relevant. Your social intelligence was your most important skill.
Anthropologists are consistently struck by just how much time hunter-gatherers spend just talking, not holding meetings or giving status updates, just talking. And what do people talk about when left to their own devices with all the time in the world? Mostly each other. The social drama, the gossip, the gentle, constant monitoring of the group's emotional temperature. The evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar, famous for Dunbar Dunbar's number, the idea that humans can maintain roughly 150 meaningful relationships, argued that language itself evolved primarily as a form of social grooming. Words replaced the physical grooming that other primates do, picking bugs out of each other's fur to maintain bonds. We got too numerous for that, so we replaced it with talking, which means that every group chat, every long phone call, every conversation that somehow lasts 3 hours and covers absolutely nothing of practical importance, that is ancient, primal, necessary behavior. You're not wasting time, you're being human. But conversation was only part of it. Music was everywhere. Flutes made from vulture bones and mammoth ivory have been found in caves dating back 40,000 years. To put that in perspective, writing was invented about 5,000 years ago. Agriculture, about 10,000. Long before any of that, we made music. And this wasn't a performance. There was no stage, no audience, and no checking streaming numbers to see if the algorithm would push your song. It was communal, spontaneous, and entirely participatory. Everyone was in the band. The idea that some people are musical and most aren't is a modern invention, a byproduct of specialization. Our ancestors sang while they worked, drummed around fires, and danced to physically align their bodies and nervous systems. Compare that to now, where most people consume music entirely passively through earbuds alone, and where the very idea of spontaneously singing out loud in public feels embarrassing and weird. Our ancestors would find that baffling and possibly a little sad. Then there's art. The cave paintings of Lascaux or Chauvet aren't primitive scribbles, they are extraordinary masterpieces. The animals are so dynamically rendered, with such a sophisticated understanding of movement, that filmmaker Werner Herzog said they looked like they could have been painted yesterday by a master. They are 36,000 years old. And because they were painted deep inside total darkness, in narrow passages requiring real risk to reach, we know they weren't decorations, they were rituals. Ancient humans were not just surviving, they were reaching for meaning. They also played relentlessly. Hunter-gatherer cultures show substantial amounts of adult play, games, jokes, and elaborate pranks. The Zhuhoansi people of southern Africa have a culture described by anthropologists as almost aggressively playful, with a powerful social norm against taking yourself too seriously. If a hunter returns from a successful hunt, even slightly proud of himself, the group will immediately begin to mock him persistently until his ego deflates back to normal. They call this insulting the meat. Instead of congratulating him, everyone comments on how skinny, disappointing, and underwhelming the kill looks. The hunter is expected to laugh and agree. This is a sophisticated social technology, an organic mechanism to ensure that success doesn't translate into ego doesn't translate into dominance, and dominance doesn't produce the early stages of hierarchy that eventually give rise to kings, aristocrats, and people who own yachts, while others can't pay medical bills. Laughter, in this light, is not just entertainment, it is governance. Even sleep looked completely different. Before artificial light and industrial work schedules, humans did not sleep in one solid 8-hour block. Historians have documented a completely different sleep pattern across centuries. First sleep, a period of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night, and second sleep. This waking period around midnight was not considered a problem. It wasn't called insomnia. People would get up, talk to their partners, pray, smoke, have sex, or visit neighbors. It was a time of unusual calm and mental clarity, associated with elevated levels of prolactin, the hormone that promotes a dreamy, reflective state. That maddening inability to sleep in one clean block tonight might not be a malfunction. It might be your 300,000-year-old biological program trying to reassert itself against a schedule designed for shift workers, not humans.
But 10,000 years ago, everything changed with the agricultural revolution, and it was a massive trap. When humans transitioned to agriculture, something unexpected showed up in the archaeological record. Skeletons changed, teeth deteriorated, infant mortality increased, and average height noticeably decreased.
The early farmers worked harder, ate a narrower, worse range of foods, and suffered more physical strain than the hunter-gatherers they replaced. Agriculture created surplus. Surplus allowed for the storage of food, which created the possibility of inequality. That inequality enabled hierarchy. Hierarchy enabled cities. Cities enabled writing, and writing enabled civilization. From that chain comes mathematics, science, medicine, and everything we call progress. But for the individual person living through it, spending 10 hours a day bent over a field eating wheat porridge instead of foraging through a diverse landscape was not an improvement in quality of life. Jared Diamond famously called agriculture the worst mistake in the history of the human race. We live in a society that defines people almost entirely by their economic productivity. What do you do is often the first question we ask each other. Not who are you or what do you love, but what do you do? Meaning, how do you convert your hours into money for the economic machine? Ancient humans had no such framework. A person was defined by their relationships, their stories, their role in the community, and their reputation for generosity or humor. Today, we have an epidemic of burnout, a loneliness crisis, and rising rates of anxiety and depression in populations that are materially safer and more comfortable than any humans who ever lived. Maybe the problem is not that we are weak or ungrateful. Maybe the problem is structural. Maybe we have built a world optimized for economic productivity that runs in direct contradiction to the actual operating requirements of the species that has to live in it. So, what did ancient humans do without jobs? They talked for hours about nothing important and everything that mattered. They made music without audiences. They painted animals on cave walls in the dark. They played games, laughed until their sides hurt, and slept in two pieces with a dreaming gap in the middle of the night. They were, by many reasonable definitions of the word, free. Not free from hardship or grief, but free in the sense that their time was their own. We can't go back. There are 8 billion people on this planet, and the world we've built is the only one we have. But understanding what life looked like before productivity became a moral virtue is a kind of compass. It points toward what we actually need underneath all the noise. Real conversation, art made together, rest that actually restores, and time that belongs to you. You are not lazy for wanting those things. You are not broken for struggling in a world that systematically denies them. You're just old. 300,000 years old, to be precise, and some part of you still remembers.